Today I'm going to talk about Matiangi. But then I have issues with some Kenyans, especially young Kenyans. This is me who thinks the way I'm presenting. There is no agreement between me and anybody that this is my job description. There are those who tell me, not say this, they say this, they say this. If you want to say this and this and this, why don't you upload your video? This is what I believe in. I don't mind anybody commenting. I don't mind anybody changing my mind. But then they have this sense of entitlement. I've even told a few of them to show me a letter where we had entered into an agreement that I should be reporting what they want. No, you are not supposed to say that. You are not supposed to do this. No. You talk, I talk. At the end of the day, we see what happens. And then if you are right, I congratulate you. If I'm right, you congratulate me if you want to. Now, mine is my own comments and observation on Matiangi. You know, he has been endorsed by Jubilee Party as its presidential candidate. Now, for those of you who are not Kenyans, or for those of you who are Kenyans but still young and do not know the history of multi-party in Kenya, since multi-party came, Kenya, we have forgotten about politics of party. So everybody starts up a village political party. Then we form a coalition. So there is a coalition 2, or there are even 3. I don't think they have ever reached 4 coalitions, and whichever coalition wins, so be it. Now, Jubilee has introduced him so that when they go to the high table to sit and decide who is going to be the leader of the coalition. First of all, the coalition is even not known because there is roughly a certain idea that there are this and that and whatever. But as time goes on, as the elections go nearer, you'll find some leaving, some going. Even the names that are being used now will be changed, to be given a new name. There are some politicians like those who are impeached. Those who are impeached, people like Rigathi Gachagua, people like Sonko. There is this former Kiambu governor who has been impeached and jailed. So you find that all this, by the time we go nearer the election, we will have now a clearer picture. Some people are arguing, and that is why I find it a bit offensive, that in Kenya we are emotional in our debates. We are emotional, and then when somebody is on our side, we decide to forget his sins. But when he's not on our side, we even cover him with sins that are even imaginary. There is something I want to tell my viewers, that somebody was saying that a person like Rigiji can contest the election because his case is still under appeal, and 2, his case is not as serious as the ICC, which faced Uhuru and Ruto. Let me tell you one thing, sincerely speaking. These leaders, Baba Yao, Baba Yao is the governor I was forgetting. Baba Yao, you come to Baba Yao, you come to Sonko, you come to Rigathi and whatever. So long as they have not cleared their case and thrown it away, they will not appear on the ballot paper. They will only use their influence, maybe if they point at you and then you choose. Now, the intelligence are really monitoring them, because supposing Rigiji is not cleared, and then he takes all his supporters to support Matiangi. You see, those are the calculations that the intelligence is calculating. I can tell you, as an alumni there, is that the intelligence at any given time, they are looking at various scenarios. They're looking at a scenario where Rigiji would accept Matiangi to be there. They're also looking at a scenario where Matiangi, if Rigiji is cleared, and then they're also looking at the 2002 effect, where all the opposition candidates ganged up against the ruling party presidential. But you see, no two cases are similar, because in 1992, in 2002, Moi had made a trick. He had kept them for so long, such that if they were to leave Kanu, there's no way they could go into on the ballot paper. But then what he did not foresee, or what he underrated, was that after them lacking and then joining up together, then Kibaki took over. So there are those scenarios that are there. This is my reaction to the Jubilee Party fronting Matiangi for the presidency. First of all, I have always believed that Matiangi belongs to the group of people who can make a good president. That one, it's not the first time I'm saying. If he becomes the president, he is one of the persons I would entertain comparing himself to Mwai Kibaki. That one I would entertain. But any other politician, especially those who are there, those who stand a chance of being president now, and even those who have ever been the president in Kenya, I don't see anybody whom we can leave alone things of saying this one is second to Kibaki or whatever. No. If you look at the candidates and you look at the 5 presidents of Kenya, or the 4 presidents, none of them can be compared to Kibaki. But should Matiangi be the president, I am very positive that he can be compared to Kibaki. And you see, Kibaki's presidency was very easy. Kibaki's president was easy. You see, if you psych the mood of the people, you psych the mood of the citizens, you psych the mood of civil servants, the executive, the judiciary, the legislator, things will just come in. Things will just come in. You find that during Kibaki's time, people started paying taxes, because in their mind they believed that the taxes will now work. Such things. The magic about Kibaki is motivating people to do what they are employed to do. And if I look at Matiangi, I believe he's somebody who can motivate everybody around to do his or her best. What Ruto has connected himself to, if he stopped, if what Ruto has commented up to this time, if he stopped today and started implementing just what he has said to date, it would take 10 years, that is 2032, to implement them. I don't know. Some things are so much attached to somebody that it is impossible to convince him to do. You may even convince him, but he may not do it because he's unable to do it. Now, convincing Ruto to stop further promises and start implementing. I'm not even talking of the promises that previous governments had said. No, I'm just talking of what Ruto has promised in the last 2 years. If he stops now from promising, tutafanya hivi, tenga bilioni ngapi tufanye hiki na hiki na tutafanya. If he stops now and he goes to his notes and starts looking at those things that he promised, leave alone those of our previous presidents, during his 2 years, what has he promised, and starts implementing them one by one, they will all end up in 2032. But you see, convincing Ruto to do that, I think it is not easy. That is my belief, and I think I'm right. Remember, stopping all the promises and starting to implement those promises to date would be a tall order. Be a tall order to Ruto. Many people did not understand Kindiki. He said that what Ruto did in what Kibaki did in 5 years, Ruto took 2 years. You see, and that is what linguistic people do, and that is what literature people do. You can say something and various people interpret differently. But then, if you interpret it the way I have interpreted, then you'll find that Kindiki was very right. Kindiki was very right to say that what Kibaki succeeded in 5 years, Ruto has succeeded in 2 years. That one, I'll prove it to you. You see, Kibaki was sworn in as the president, and when Kibaki was 5 years old as the president of Kenya, that is when he got nusu mkate, half a bread. It took Kibaki 5 years to get nusu mkate, half a bread to Raila. But it took Ruto 2 years to have a bread-based government. Easy. Yeah? Quick. Sheng, for those who are not in Kenya may not understand this, but Kenyans will understand, especially the young people, that ilimchukua Kibaki kumweka Raila kwa box miaka 5 na Ruto ilimchukua 2 years. Of course, Ruto was assisted by jinsia, but anyway, the buck stops at with the president, isn't it? I can say that I do believe that Matiangi was set up within 2017 to 2022. And we hope that this time around, it is not history repeating itself. You see, the Kenya is very good in setting somebody up politically. You set somebody up politically. You can remember when from 2011, the government was nusu mkate coalition. And what happens in a government where one of the senior people is going to be the candidate? For example, even the US or anywhere, the president has completed his 2 terms, and now the vice president is contesting, is expected to contest the next election. What they do is that any project that is unpopular, they leave it to the president to handle it in the second term. And then the popular programs, they leave it to the vice president because he's going to campaign. But what Kibaki did set up Raila was anything that he wanted to get, he knew that people would praise whoever did it, Kibaki would do it. But anything that people would be sad about it, he gave it to Raila instead of vice versa. Because in the second term, you can do anything. After all, it is only impeachment that can get you out. But then he started programs to endear himself to the people. And those ones which he believed they were unpopular, like chasing people from Mau Forest, he gave it to Raila so that Raila becomes unpopular. That is also what was set up on Matiangi. Matiangi was told from day one, that he would be the next presidential candidate. And for you to be the next presidential candidate, you have to finish off the only competitor who is there. And the only competitor who was there was Ruto. So he spent a lot of time attacking Ruto and Ruto allied policies and whatever. So he was also set up because Ruto, before he became the president, he had some regions which were loyal to him. So if you turn, there are some people even who are not as famous, as popular as those I'm talking about. But if you start mishandling somebody like me, then the people from my region would start saying the government hates our tribe, and that is what was happening. So when he started mishandling, he's not a politician, so he didn't know that the politicians were setting him up, and he was being assured by Raila, that Raila would say Matiangi tosha, but then he did that. When he was set up, he had been set up. He started attacking Ruto, thereby getting unpopular in some areas. Kenyans are known for being sympathetic to people being attacked. Remember the ICC, when I do believe that Ruto and Uhuru joined together because of the ICC, and many people voted for them so that they knew that if they don't vote for them, they'll go to jail. So Kenya has a history of sympathizing with the victim. Actually, there's even a good number who voted for Ruto because of how Uhuru was mistreating him over the last 5 years. We also have to bear in mind that Raila in the past has a habit of propelling people up, and then at the last minute claims that he is the only individual who can confront the main candidate. Uh, he can set up Matiangi so much that Matiangi feels whatever. Then he would reach a place and say, Matiangi, Ruto is too big an animal for you to fight. I'm the only one who is capable of confronting Ruto. So you'll find that it would reach a time when, if every election time, at the 11th hour, Raila says, okay, if you check with the windpipe, you'll find that I am the only person who can confront that person. So he justifies him, but it has always been his plan from the word go. He sets you up, you fly up, and then he comes up and says that the candidate needs a stronger candidate than you. So, and the only candidate who can confront him is me. But for relevance and I would advise Raila to cease. From each and every Kenyan political event. I would advise him to just retire. It is time to spend time with his grandchildren and whatever, and um, take his NGO to the whole of Africa, where he could be giving speeches and whatever, lectures and whatever. Let him forget the Kenyan. It's like being an MP and then next election you campaign for an MCA. But for relevancy and financial effects, you never know. Raila would even forget that he's getting old. He believes that once he keeps quiet, he will not be in the news. So he'd want to be the news. And then again, if you look at all, I remember before the agency, people really abused me when I uploaded the video on committee secrets about Raila. Raila has two things that does. First of all, he immerses himself so much into up to the neck over issues, and then at the last time he enters a secret agreement with the powers that be. And also Raila likes being in politics because he gets a lot of money. If Raila was to win the president today, and he would earn less than what he's getting. You imagine people, all the governors from his stronghold areas. Remember, all the elected leaders who are not related to him, they have constant money that they send to him. So telling him to reach somewhere and then stop the flow of money. But you see, we have also to understand that age is catching up. We also have to know that many of the Kenyan political leaders want him to be still in politics to check the government. There are many Kenyans who believe that if today Raila since, and these are the people who are praying to God that Raila fails in the African Union. These are the people who feel that nobody else can counter a government in power. So there are those people who really want, and they'll really push him. They'll really push him to continue with politics because they'll really push him to go with the politics so that they become relevant. Then he's the only person who can place the government in check. And also, we have some people. I can mention a lot of people who, if Raila does, they shout themselves hoarse to associate themselves with Raila because that they know the constituency where they come from. You only need, say, Baba Tosha, and you'll be elected almost unopposed. Yeah, Matiangi comes from a tribe that is known to be very united. I can tell you, Kisi, I don't know where they got that thing, but Kisi knows that and a fellow Kisi will never cheat. And the only time a Kisi will cheat is when a Kisi is arguing or debating against a fellow Kisi. But when a non-Kisi and a Kisi are arguing or debating, a Kisi will come and always believe in the other Kisi. That is okay. It is also a strength because I can assure you that in Kisi land, even we will not have agents in the polling stations for the presidential if Matiangi stood. But it's a small tribe. It's a small tribe. So yes, they can vote. It's like, let's say Kikuyu. Kikuyu, you can get 5%, and I can get 95% of the Kisi, but you'll find that you have gotten more than what I've gotten. What will his candidature mean to others? That's a question we have to ask ourselves. What will Matiang'i's candidature mean to Raila, Kalonzo, Martha Karua, and others? Supposing they endorse him, will their supporters follow suit? Remember when Uhuru wanted to step down, you remember the Madimoni issue? When he wanted to step down for Musalia, he was told by Kikuyus that we have endorsed you. And if you don't want, return that endorsement to us so that we endorse another person. We are not endorsing you to go and endorse another person. So that is why I'm saying, supposing they endorse him, will their supporters follow suit? It is only Raila whose supporters can, he is the only one capable of donating a sizable vote basket. Would the others do that? Because Raila, if today he says Kwatenge will be, support Kwatenge, I can tell you that if you go to that place, people will be falling themselves over wanting to vote for Kwatenge. I've only given that as an example. We also have to consider the fact that Raila, Kalonzo, Karua, etc. may offer first person, second person, or even third person in candidates as candidate. It is not automatic that these people would offer themselves. And then the question is, this other person, who will they push? As I said, like Raila can endorse me, and you find people coming there. And then we are saying, okay, another point here is supposing he stands and then these other people also contest. Don't you see that the issue of 1992 and 1997 would come. Because the more you have candidates, yes, the more candidates you have, if you have one, it is easier to convince the people. But if you have many, it would be a bit hard. And then there is the question is that, okay, the more the candidates, it is possible, it becomes even quite easy for the leading candidate not to get 50 plus 1. Now that one goes to the runoff. Now, if they are going for the runoff, my question is, would these other candidates, supposing, okay, Ruto is number 1 and Matiang'i is number 2, and so on and so on, and you find that Ruto gets 49, Matiang'i gets 48, and then others. What way, what would okay, Kalonzo has not gone, isn't it? How would would Kalonzo's voters listen to what the candidate Kalonzo will endorse? Would okay, if they don't listen to what he may endorse or he may not endorse, suppose he does not endorse, how will his, or even Karua's supporters, how will they vote? And then there is also the thing of endorsing. You endorse somebody, but your people don't follow them. Another point I wanted to say is this: in Kenya, especially, if Ruto was number 1, but but less than 50 plus 1, and Matiang'i is number 2. What I know about Kenya is that, however, even if they are very close, you'll find there is the post-election, what do you call, agreement. There is post-election agreement where you'll find somebody now rushing to number 1. So you're going to rushing to number 1, saying that I'm endorsing that. Of course, they will not lead their supporters to go and vote for you or me or anything. But by going there and endorsing him, it gives a psychological win to the number 1. It is rare in Africa and in Kenya to find that the losing candidates will now endorse number 2. If it is Matiang'i who comes number 1, they'll endorse Matiang'i. If it is Ruto who comes number 1, they'll do that. So you find that, and you see, being the incumbent president, you very much likely you'll find that he'll be number 1, and people will start rushing there. Somebody goes there and says, I want my region to support you on the condition that you give me 3 or 4 cabinet slots. Then there is also the question of Central. There is a question of Central. Central, there appears as of now to be 3 levels of pooling. And you see, a house divided shall never stand. We have, Uhuru is not comfortable with the Rigiji, and that is why Jubilee has endorsed. Matiang'i. Rigiji, if I may be reading him right, he may have wanted Central to be united. He would have wanted Central to be united. But then, supposing he's now cleared, then you'll find that a good number of Murima will follow Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and vote for Matiang'i. And you see around 80%, is it, or is it 60%? Okay, I don't know. But a large chunk of Ruto's votes came from Murima. Now, if Murima is divided among several people we are talking about, then sincerely, it will join Luhyaland in being battleground fronts. So we have to look at it that way, that his candidature will also affect the stability or the unity of the Murima populace. He has left a very senior international job. Will it be like Mohisa Kitui? Mohisa Kitui came and a lady just played him a trick. And just like that, he was out of. So, okay, from what I'm seeing, it appears that it is already decided. I don't see him going back. I think he has even resigned from his job. He has already written a resignation letter. From the way things are happening, I don't see him backing down. But then, do you leave that big job and then come and maybe you may not even win that election? The only way he can win is through 2002, like something like 2002 Kibaki Tosha. If that thing happens where all the opposition candidates agree and heartily campaign for him. But you see, no two things are similar, because one of the reasons why the 2002 Kibaki Tosha happened is because one of the reasons why 2002 Kibaki Tosha happened is that Moi had used a trick where he had detained. Can I use the word detained? He had detained all the political heavyweights, such that by the time he disclosed his secret card, it was too late for them to start campaigning. So would we have also a 2002 kind of momentum? Only history will say. And I say, if he becomes the president, I can assure you that he is the only politician who should be compared to Kibaki. He's the only politician who can be compared to Kibaki. And as I said, uh, he he doesn't say what he's going to do. He lets his action speak for themselves. But you see, in Kenya, we don't vote for the best person. We don't swear in the president for the best person. We swear in the president for the person with the most votes. Not that he is like Kibaki, but because he is the only politician who can be compared to Kibaki. Whereby Kibaki would be compared in thousands, he can be, if Kibaki, you are counting him in 1,000 points, then Matiangi, you can count him in tens, not even hundreds. What about other candidates to be compared with Kibaki? That is what we say in election, spoiled votes. Thank you for listening to me. Have a nice time. Abaminto tororane mambia buyamono. Amen. I know a bit of Kisii. Thank you.